Hello, humans of the internet. Welcome to this level 15 interview with Noah, who plays Hayden in the Gallant Horde. Noah, thank you for joining me and having a chat with me about your awesome character. Um, so you hit level 10, no, the other one, 15, fairly recently, killing a dragon, as I recall. Um, which is a pretty cool way to do it, let's be honest. Um, so
Yes, a large one.
a very large one. Should have been bigger, but we were out of time. Anyway, um, I'm just going to ask you some questions about your experience in this horde of gallantness so far. Um, I guess to start off with, tell us a bit about you and Dungeons and Dragons and what it is in your life and how you ended up in this ridiculous horde of ours.
Ooh, now that is a story. So first started playing D&D 4 years ago, I think. Um, I basically learned about it through Critical Role because I used to follow Geek and Sundry for all their other things,
Mhm.
and Critical Role just put up on my sub feed. I checked it out. And uh, one of my local cafes ran a D&D night every, I don't remember the day, but every like once a week, just had a one shot night. A
Yep.
few people would come, they'd sit down and roll dice, and then after the panorama started, uh, that shut down real quick. So I took a break from playing for 6 months, I think, give or take. But I was constantly looking for games to play because
It's addictive.
I wanted to play again, and that connected me to one of my current groups that's still playing to this day. And a couple months after that, I was scrolling through Facebook and found a little post with a link to sparabell.com. I sat on that for a little while longer and eventually actually sent in my application. And now here I sit, over a year later.
Yeah, it's bonkers. It's bonkers. It blows my mind. It's amazing to me how many people started playing D&D because of Critical Role. I too started playing D&D because of Critical Role. It has a lot to answer for. Um, so the Horde is not a normal campaign. A normal campaign, you have like 5 or 6 people maybe at the most, and they just follow one story. We have a million. No, we have like 40 people in the Horde, I think, at last count. Um, and the original idea was that it was episodic, that there would just be these like little one shots, but then it took on a life of its own, as so many of my projects apparently do. Um, what has that been like as a player to go from something that should have been just once every couple of weekends to something that is like a 24-hour RP situation?
It's been real interesting. I mean, I wish I could give a more descriptive word, but I mean, just watching it go from like two RP channels, the
Yeah.
tavern and the in-depth RP, ooh,
Yep.
to
Yep.
all
At
our
one point,
channels
at
that
one
are
point, we had
constantly
in character and out of
lighting up.
character. That was all. And now,
Yeah, and it's been a ride. It's been great to be a part of it. Uh, it hasn't always been the most active,
I feel
but
like
now he is.
he has come out of his shell in recent. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, well,
I have a question for you
I'm
first
sure
because
that'll be a significant portion.
yes, before we get into Hayden, you are in many ways the Horde baby. I think you're our youngest member. Um, and you
I would
frequently get
not be
referred to
surprised.
as the Horde baby. What's that like? How does that
I,
feel?
I'm fairly used to being the youngest, just by virtue of the fact that I am very young. Uh, So I mean,
Not unusual for you. It's
it's
interesting
not
to me because
unusual.
we do have a very wide range of people from many countries and many
Mm.
age groups and many backgrounds, which I love because that's my jam. I enjoy different kinds of people. But yeah, I couldn't resist throwing that one in there. You're like, yeah, I'm the youngest, so what? Just wait. Kit, I think, is our oldest. Kit's Horde Granny. Um, and everything in between. Okay, let's talk about Hayden. Tell me a bit about where Hayden came from in terms of your creation of him. Like, what
Confirmed.
inspired you?
As with most of my characters, it came from me just sitting at a chair with D&D Beyond or source books open in a window, thinking, okay, what do I want to do here?
Hmm.
I old con from one of the one shots at the cafe that was a wielding ranger, picturing a whirl of blades kind of deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, so we got ranger, we got dual wield. Now we need to figure out the subclass since we're starting at level 5.
Yep.
So I started looking through, seeing just what looked cool and would let me get as many attacks as humanly possible in one round. And I, it was between Gloomstalker and Horizon Walker, and I looked through the roster, saw that you already had a Gloomstalker because Gianna was in the Horde
Yep.
before me, even if she wasn't that active,
Hmm.
and Horizon Walker, and Horizon Walker it was. And the backstory just kind of came from the flavor text you get in the book about Horizon Walker.
Yeah.
And
He's
I was
interesting
looking
because
for a
he's
background. I
he's
was
not
like,
a
all right, so Mysterious Order.
carry on.
Go on.
You. It's your story. Tell your story.
Tangents. I will ramble. Um, but
That's what we're here for. We're here for your
uh,
ramblings.
all right. Well, so I started looking at the backgrounds to see if there was any that kind of reflected that order, kind of, dedicated to protecting the realm kind of deal. And there was Knight of the Order, and that's where all the rest of the initial backstory I had for him came from.
Awesome. He's an interesting character because he's a ranger, but you wouldn't think so most of the time.
Yeah, that partially came just because I really wanted to play a against type ish character.
Yep. That's
Strength
always
based
interesting.
ranger who's
Yep.
not good at nature, not good at
Yep.
survival, didn't have
It's
any of the ranger features that make you good at those things, even if you don't have proficiencies. And
excellent.
I,
Um,
uh,
he,
I wish I had more of an explanation that I just thought it sounded cool.
I mean, that's a perfectly reasonable explanation. I play characters because I don't know the classes very well, and as a DM, I like to learn how classes work. So I play classes when I get the opportunity to play. I often play things that I've never played just so that I can learn how they work. So that's how my characters happen. So I get it. There's lots of reasons why you go the way you go. All right. So Hayden is a little bit of a dark horse. He's not extremely forthcoming with his thoughts on things or his um stories from pre-horde times. So my question is, what isn't he telling people?
Ooh, that's a big question. Well, some of it has come out in one-on-one conversations. Told Tess about his experience with this mysterious house that was his inciting incident to everything leading him to the Horde.
Yep.
Um, but I mean, part of the reason he doesn't talk a lot about his
No, he
past is
doesn't.
not
That's why
much
I'm
to talk
asking you
about.
now.
He grew up in the Order. He hunted primarily demons, just because that's what I decided on. Because the Blood War is a really easy way to have a bunch of planar incursions to the
Yep.
point where it would need an order dedicated to stopping them. So he hunted a bunch of demons. Uh, for a while, then on his first solo mission, he was sent to investigate a mysterious portal to know where they could identify and go in and see what's up. And then backstory happened, and now he's in the Horde.
Uh-huh. You can't just gloss over it like that. Backstory happened.
Uh, okay. So the said backstory after he went into the portal was actually at least partially from a one shot that I played with another DM from a module called The Darkest House, made by Monty Cook Games. It was essentially just it's a system agnostic thing that's just meant to be played online, and it's a horror module.
Yep.
So
Monster House, right?
some
Like,
horror happened.
yeah.
He watched someone get Monster House. Yes.
Yep.
The tagline is "The house hates you."
Yep. Yep.
So, of
Great.
course, shenanigans ensued, including a tiefling being disappeared from looking into a coffin. Don't know what happened.
Oh.
Because one second she was there, then the next she wasn't. Then, oh, I had it typed out in the chat. Then, I believe a human, another human, fell trying to cover the escape of Haydn and one other person from a Frankenstein-ish monster uh, that was chasing them and then finally caught up. Uh, and then finally, Haydn ended up getting taken by the house, and as the light that showed the exit to the house was going, he stabbed the dwarf who remained with him right in the gut.
Hey. Cool. Wow.
And a couple other things happened that were minorly scary, but shaking for him, including reading his entire life up to that point through the perspective of the most nihilistic, just everything you do is a failure point of view.
Wow. The house like psychologically damaged you too. Awesome.
Yeah,
So he wants to find this thing and take it out. Because that's come up a couple of
indeed.
times. Now, would he
Indeed.
actually allow his friends to go into this place?
Very carefully.
Because I feel like the people who would want to go with Hayden, he wouldn't want to put them at that kind of risk. Cough, Vienna, cough.
Yeah, exactly. He probably wouldn't want to. I don't know who he's kind of torn on that just because he knows he can't take it on alone, but also
Yep,
everyone who he would trust to go in with,
he
he
doesn't.
really doesn't want to go.
Yep, yep. That's an interesting conundrum. Um, okay, let me ask you some questions about the Horde. Uh, obviously, Hayden's got a little burgeoning romance going on there with Fianna. It's a very slow burn, which is rare for the Horde. Usually it's like, oh, hi, I like you, let's get married. That seems to be
Yeah,
the thing that people do.
it's a nice change of pace.
It is, it is. It's nice to watch. Um, how long has he had that in his brain? I guess is my question.
Uh, I mean, I
Like,
can't pinpoint an exact time or anything. um, the time I decided, I mean, we'll see how it goes. Who knows? Was probably when Garen left the realm to go to Kryn,
right.
and he and Fianna started training more. I was like, this could be interesting. Who knows?
Cool.
And
Because there was a little bit of like either they're going to be long lost siblings, or those were the two paths. And then
yes, yeah,
if I was a very mean DM, I would start dropping those hints. But that seems super mean.
yeah. I uh, I never not I strongly consider I never got to it, but I strongly consider just DMing Tiffany and being like, hey, we're both from homebrew worlds that are eerily similar.
Yep.
in the,
Oh,
the
you've gone robotic. Robot Hayden.
ah, uh, uh, is it better
Yeah,
or should
you're
I
back. There we
leave
go.
and rejoin?
No,
Okay,
you're back.
okay.
Um,
What was the last thing you heard?
that you're from homebrew worlds that are eerily similar.
Yeah, and
You do similar
extremely
things.
similar characters.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
that never came to fruition, and now we're here.
Yep. Indeed. All right. I'm gonna now ask you the questions I ask everyone. Um, Tell me about Hayden's opinion of the lady, especially given the events of the last week. Because it's been a week in the
Oh,
Horde. Holy shitballs. With what happened with Zadashi. Um, Tell me where's he at? What's his thought process?
um, his thought process with the lady is he mostly trusts her. Uh, he he trusts her to be Fae for the most part, as you can expect, and
Yep.
he trusts that she has the best interests of the Horde at heart.
Mhm.
But he is also very much dedicated to the balance of the planes,
Yep.
being a defender of them. So he is also a bit cautious of what she plans to do with Stumpy once he is deposed, especially if he is not cooperative to co-ruling again.
Yep. Well, we've started hinting at that solution, but Hayden doesn't know about that yet, I suppose. So
But Hayden doesn't know about that.
interesting. I mean, that's a good answer, and it's honestly the same answer she would give. She trusts everybody to be who they are, and her thing is that her job is to understand them well enough to be able to predict that. That's yeah. Um. So obviously Hayden has gotten close with the Blessed family. Um. But is there anyone that he feels particularly connected to or particularly likes, and why? I guess because that's the interesting part.
I mean, most of it has been the Blesseds just because of the time that I started coming out of my shell
Yeah.
and role playing Hayden more. Started with Tess, which then connected me to the rest of the
Mm.
Blessed. But he still feels fairly close to Ardbeg just due to the virtue of them having been on quite
They've
a
been
few missions
on a lot of
together,
missions
interacting
together.
a
Yeah.
fair bit outside of missions.
Yep.
Yeah, Artur for similar
Mm.
reasons.
Yeah. You kind of all started at the same time, didn't you?
But that's about it, because he was really he,
Bit of a
he
recluse for a long
was he
time.
was really a recluse for a long time.
Is there? This is the
And
more interesting question. Is there
most of
anyone
the
that
people he
he?
started getting close to before the proper hermitage left the Horde for one reason or
Yep.
another.
Yep. Yep. That
Because
happens.
it was
Uh.
Juniper, Brew,
Yep. Yep.
and oh, who was the other one? I don't
Naya,
remember.
probably.
Not Naya. Uh, Someone else.
Biz, Elena,
I don't.
Cold ass. I'm like,
No,
who's not around at the moment
maybe Colness. I don't.
for one reason or another. I don't
I don't know. I don't know.
know. Is there
But
anyone he dislikes
the
intensely or distrusts? I guess would be.
distrusts distrusts not exactly. He is very suspicious of Miss Ickle, but again, it's the same kind of thing of just he trusts her to be Miss Ickle.
Hmm.
He just doesn't exactly know what that means.
That's amazing. Will's gonna
He
be so
just
proud.
knows he probably will not end up enjoying it by the end.
She's delightful. I don't know what you're talking about.
She's delightful to watch.
Yeah, that's true. Um, does he have so like you've gotten obviously a significant way through your contract. You only have a few missions left before that contract is over. Um, does he have any deeper motives or anything he wants to get out of the Horde um, before that contract is over? Like what's he in it for? If that makes sense.
once he found out, initially he was looking for allies, power, and connections in order to take down the house.
Yep.
Uh, and that is still very much his motivation, though that'll probably be post contract as opposed to mid contract, especially with how chaotic the realm's gonna be in 2 weeks, I think,
Yep.
the
Yep.
first seal.
Yep.
Um, but and he definitely wants to get the lady back on her throne and restore the balance of the
Mm.
Feywild. Uh, but other than that, those are his motivations for continuing through the horde and protecting those in the horde. They are his charge now.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
and
he's also on the war council. This is another thing that has happened for him. He went from being a recluse to being one of the
yes,
people who's on the war council. What are your thoughts on that?
yeah, I am honestly I was hoping for it, of course, because he was getting more involved with the official business. But honestly, I was as shocked as he was when he was asked, just because
Well, he's perceived as being very level-headed, I
I guess
think.
I was surprised when. Yeah, I mean, I try to play him as such, but I figured just because of
Excellent.
the reclusiveness for most of it, he
I guess people have seen him
might not
be
have been as considered. But
in action. He's been quite like he doesn't go off on emotional tangents like some members do. Um, tell me what is this is kind of a two-parter. What is your favorite Horde moment so far as a player, and then what is Hayden's favorite Horde moment so far? Because they may not be the same.
they're definitely not the same because my favorite horde moment was uh is was playing through the aftermath of the Barrows mission.
I thought
That
that
I
might
think
come
that was the
up.
first time I got real deep into RP
Yeah,
in the horde, and it was so fun.
that
That
mission,
that
man. It
mission
had
still
so many
sticks out
repercussions.
so much in my head.
Yeah,
Oh, and then Hayden's favorite moment is probably between the night after everything in the arena because of with Zen and the
then
lady and
yeah,
all that. Just in the blessed house with his family, just being together with them, and
yeah.
then yeah, that's probably Hayden's.
Wow, that's kind of sweet. Um, do you have a favorite mission? And you can answer in the same two-part thing because I imagine the answer. I think Noah's is probably the Barrows.
Yeah, it's between Barrows and Dragon for Noah, but a tight race between the two. And then Hayden's favorite was probably the dragon, just
Yeah,
because of how perfectly it all came
it
together.
went really well. That was a good plan, and you executed it delightfully. I was slightly frustrated, but also very proud of you in a way that only a DM can be. Like, damn it! But you're very clever, and I'm impressed. Um, is there anything in your upcoming missions that you are particularly looking forward to? That you're like, ooh, I look forward to that. I don't even know if you have any missions
Well,
booked at the moment apart from the seal.
I don't have any booked. We have one that I think has people for, but we need to work out a date for that I am very excited for, which I
Mm.
believe is the Royal Museum. I believe
Ah,
is the
yes.
one that I'm currently waiting for scheduling for. That I'm very excited for that one
People
because
love heist games, man.
I mean, come on, who doesn't want to mess with Stumpy's plans?
I know, right? And you get to rob a museum.
And I think that's the only one he's properly signed up for at the
Mm.
moment, or interested in, I guess, since it's not scheduled. Other than Seals, which I'm
Yep.
also extremely excited for.
Me too.
I believe the plan is to have me on Seal 5 at the moment, which
You know
is
what I realized the other day? I
literally. going to hell.
That seal, the fifth seal, the Hell Seal, is also on the 5th of November. Which I don't know if that's a thing in America, but that's Guy Fawkes Night.
Yes.
Which I think it
It
wasn't
is a thing in the
deliberate,
U.S.
but when I
thanks
looked at
to
it, I was
the
like, man, that's cool.
thanks to V for Vendetta. It is in fact a thing in the States.
Yeah. Um, is there anything we've done a lot of different things. I've tried to keep it as broad as possible and do a wide variety of things. Is there anything we haven't done that you would be interested in seeing us do in terms of missions? This is where I get my ideas.
I know we've done a lot.
We
at
have,
this
and
point.
I've tried to like give a wide variety, but people always come up with things, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, we want
I
a
mean,
puzzle
there's been
house, and then I gave someone a puzzle, and they're still stuck there. So,
yeah, I mean, there's at least from the missions I've been on and seen, there's been a woeful lack of demon fighting.
we've had a couple, but yeah, we've maybe
A
we
couple.
need more demons. More demons. Okay, I can do that.
More
We had the Demon's Bathhouse. That
Um,
was in that was a demon game.
there,
The
there
Arkadloth
was the
Amphitheater
demon's
was a
bath.
demon game, kind of. But those actually, now that I'm thinking about it, were a while ago. I haven't done a demon game in a while. All right. I'll put it in my brain. All right.
Yeah.
Last question. This is the one we always wait for and put at the end so that everybody has to watch the whole thing to get it. What is Hayden's deepest, darkest secret? What's he hiding?
Ooh,
I know I asked you that earlier a little bit, but this is like,
I know.
what do we not know about this character that you're
What
willing to share, I
do
guess?
we
But
not know about this character? Uh, hmm. This is hard because his big secret was the whole house thing that I
yeah,
already exposed.
yep,
I
and
don't
we
know
knew
if that's
that.
his.
Like, if for people who've been paying attention in the Discord, that has come out. So, is there something that he hasn't told anyone, or maybe something he doesn't even know that you as a player know about him, but he doesn't know? Because some people answer it that way.
Just to keep it vague and evocative as something that I've kind of had in the back of my head for a while. I'm not sure if the house released him as much as he thought it did.
Oh, that's a dangerous thing to say in front of your DM.
Oh, it is, and I am very excited to see if anything comes of it.
Excellent. Um, all right. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about this experience of yours that you have had with us so far in the Horde? We're getting to the end game. It's all very interesting and exciting at the moment.
I'm not going to say join us just because we're really close to the application deadline and things are going to be very chaotic and weird for
You
new
can join us
players.
next year. We're
But
going to have a season 2.
perhaps once season 2 starts, you can join us next year. You can join the Discord because like 90% of the game happens in the Discord.
It really does. That wasn't the intention, but here we are. It really does. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and for coming and having a chat with me about your character, and also for being part of this, because without all of you, this would just be me talking to myself. So, I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing what happens next with Hayden and his things that might now be more interesting. um, Anyone watching, thank you for watching. If you're watching this, it probably means that Hayden is about to be in a game on Twitch and Sparrow. Go and watch that game. Twitch.tv/Sparrow. We usually release interviews just before people play, so go and do the thing. Um, Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this craziness, and have a beautiful time zone.